Good to go? All right. Good evening. Welcome to another edition of Menifee's Planning Commission. It's 6 o'clock. I'll call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk, would you please call roll?
Commissioner Diedrich.
Here.
Commissioner Long. Here. Commissioner Madrid.
Here.
Vice Chair Thomas.
Here.
And Chair Ledoux.
I am here too. Thank you. Ben, do you want to lead us in the pledge tonight? All right, thank you, Ben. Normally, we skip right over number 4, but tonight we have a presentation. So this is our presentation item. Could the Community Development Director please introduce this item?
Thank you, Chair, members of the Commission. I am pleased to provide you with the special edition tonight with a presentation from our analysts in the Planning and Building Divisions, Molly Banal and Laura Sportelli. For the last 2 years, we've been putting together a community development annual report to highlight our work efforts. So they're going to go over that information for you.
Thank you, Cheryl. Good evening, Mr. Chair and fellow commissioners. Laura and I are very excited to share our efforts of our department with you tonight in our fiscal year 2022-2023 annual report. A quick recap of some of our department responsibilities. It is our job to implement the goals and the land use policies of our general plan. We ensure new developments are well balanced, well designed, and consistent with our development code. We make sure the construction is consistent with our state and local regulations. We take the lead in the plan review and permitting process, and we establish assistance programs for residents with the use of our federal funding. So our department is organized into 4 main areas. On our first column is the bulk of our services provided by the building division staff. This includes plan review, permit issuance, inspection services, all the way down to occupancy issuance. In our second column are the services provided by our current and long-range planning staff, which focuses on project entitlement processing and maintaining the goals of the general plan, as well as developing and updating our zoning ordinances, development code, assisting with regional projects, and oversight of our CEQA studies and related document preparation. Our third column has our community development block grant program focus, which is federally funded assistance programs provided by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, also known as HUD. The primary focus is implementing our consolidated plan and housing programs with significant community engagement. And then our fourth column is overall department administration, where budget and staffing are essential focus points, legislation monitoring, and overall contract management. So our department is divided up into two divisions, planning and building. On the planning side, we are happy to have 4 AICP planners with additional staff interest in this certification, so we do expect to see that number increase in the coming years. On the building side, we have 5 ICC certified inspectors, as well as 2 ICC certified plans examiners. Our department has a total of 31 staff members who work diligently to ensure balanced and well-designed commercial and residential developments, as well as provide excellent customer service to our citizens. We also realized very healthy revenues, even with conservative projections last year, with planning receiving over 160% of their projected revenue, and building receiving upwards of 120%. And this is a testament to the amount of projects that are continuously being submitted. Planning approved 161 projects last year. 17 of those projects included accessory dwelling units. 4 of those 17 were part of our permit-ready ADU plans, which were launched at the beginning of last fiscal year. And we expect to see those numbers increase due to the housing mandates by the state and the availability of our permit-ready ADU plans, which hosts 8 floor plans and then 2 architectural types. So a wide variety for our residents to choose from. We also approved 5 tentative track maps, which included 408 single-family residential units and 240 apartments. And this added to our approved housing stock, bringing that total single-family units to over 4,000 and almost 1,300 multifamily units. Some of the other department efforts included the adoption of the Battery Energy Storage Ordinance, which establishes new regulations related to the installation of utility-scale energy storage facilities, the Industrial Good Neighbor Policy, which protects sensitive receptors from industrial development, and the Mobile Home Park Rent Stabilization Ordinance, which secures annual space rent increases to no more than 5%. We also accepted 22 pre-applications last year, and the pre-applications give us insight to developer interest, and they help staff anticipate any upcoming projects. We also have 25 major projects currently in plan review. And as you can see from the numbers, we do have a heavy industrial development with over 12 million square foot currently in process. This is seen from the pre-application load we had last year of over 45. A lot of those projects have submitted, so now we're seeing them currently in our plan review load. We also have 2 hotels, which will give us a new 204 new hotel rooms, as well as 18 new housing subdivisions. So we're very busy. Some of our other metrics last year included over 3,000 customers assisted at our front counter. Approximately 80 to 85% of these customers are homeowners inquiring about information related to their DIY projects or individual construction on their properties, such as pools, patios, ADUs, re-roofs, etc. We saw a 19% call reduction due to our staff continuing to work diligently to make sure all phone calls are returned within a 24-hour time period, which will eliminate duplicate phone calls. We received 235 new application submittals, which includes not only entitlement, but also all post-entitlement project types as well. We currently have 232 projects in review. Our staff conducted over 700 inspections last year, and we also executed 25 SECO contracts for a total of $3.45 million. Our Community Development Block Grant is responsible for implementing the grant programs that assist our residents. The city receives these annual allocation of funds from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development based on our total population, poverty levels, and overcrowded units. And these funds are then distributed by MCAC to several subrecipients such as the Boys and Girls Club and the Assistance League of Temecula Valley. Some of the other accomplishments of our CDBG program include the adoption of our 5-year consolidated plan and the annual action plan. We launched the Single Family Minor Home Repair Grant Program, which is funded by the American Rescue Plan allocations for our income qualified non-seniors, and we're happy to announce that 8 residents have so far been approved. We also launched the first-time home buyer assistance program funded with the permanent local housing allocation, also from HUD, which provides funding to local governments for housing-related programs. In June, our council increased the funding amount to $100,000 per income qualified resident, and we're excited to see this money help citizens into their first homes. Our CDBG program also oversees the Minor Home Grant Repair Program for our income qualified seniors who assisted 7 residents last year, as well as 37 Habitat for Humanity projects. Some activity of the other subrecipients of CDBG funds are listed here, as well as the newest service, which is our Cancer Resource Center, which has so far assisted our 29 residents. And with that, I'm going to switch it over to Laura to talk about the building.
Thank you, Molly. Good evening, everyone. This first graph for building shows a 10-year trend of relatively consistent increases in the total number of permits issued per year, with slight fluctuations around fiscal year 20 and 21, also known as COVID-19 year. We continue to manage high levels of activities, and this past year was no exception, with over 6,000 permits issued. The increase in miscellaneous permits coincides with the slight decrease in new single-family permits, which makes up 14% of all permits issued. This next slide provides a graphical breakdown of all permits issued by building division. On the residential side, we're continuing to see a lot of solar activity, which is up 17% from fiscal year 21-22. As previously mentioned, new single-family residences make up 14%, while electrical permits came in at 9%, and HVAC and mechanical make up a total of 6%. On the commercial side, electrical made up 42%. Alterations and additions combined made up 43%. New commercial 9%, and mechanical and plumbing 6%. Our building division's fiscal year 22-23 accomplishments are highlighted on this last slide. Total project valuation had a negligible drop of 3%, which can be contributed to workflow fluctuations in a normal project cycle. Although we saw a 26% drop in single-family project valuation, new commercial valuation increased over 700%, which is due to projects like Ziders Industrial and an influx of other commercial and multifamily projects. That includes restaurants such as Black Bear Diner, Popeyes, and of course, Chick-fil-A across the street. Our inspectors conducted over 28,000 inspections, and our counter staff took in over 59,000 phone calls. This is a 67% decrease from the previous year, and that's largely due to automation with Acela and ACA. More of our customers are using our online portal. And with the ramp down in COVID and COVID measures, counter customers assisted had an increase. More people are coming into the city, and the number of virtual customers have decreased by 20%. And with that, I will pass the baton back to Molly.
We're happy to announce our department won 2 awards this year. Our permit-ready accessory dwelling unit plans and handbook won the Excellence Award for best practice by the Inland Empire Division of the American Planning Association. And our Workforce Development Center, which is funded with local CDBG and HUD funds and is organized with our economic development team, won an award of excellence from CalEd. Our department strives to meet the needs of our residents, businesses, visitors, and developers alike to ensure that together we are following our department mission to create a healthy, vibrant, and connected community for everyone. And that concludes our presentation. So at this time, we'd be open to any questions the commission has.
Fantastic, thank you. Great presentation. Does anyone have any questions for them?
I just want to say congratulations on your hard work that earned you 2 awards.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I did have a question. What do you think was attributed to the decrease in the SFR project valuations?
You want to answer that? Sure. I'll take that one, Chair. It was a market pause. We saw about 20% reduction, 25% reduction. And that was on par with what we had anticipated based on our conversations with the BIA. It was, a combination of cost increases, mortgage rate increases, and just, I'd say a little bit of right sizing.
Interesting, okay. Joe, does that track? From an appraiser's perspective?
Yeah, thank you. First, I would like to say thank you very much for a tremendous accomplishment last year. Second, I would like to ask you for more detail about the 2 hotel proposals. For me, hotel is an leading indicator for economic activities. So when you see a new hotel coming, it opens up many other business opportunities. So if you can give us more detail about the 2 hotels.
Thank you, Commissioner Long. We do have a couple projects. One of them just here on the south side of us in the shopping center next to LA Fitness. I don't recall the exact numbers. There are over 100 rooms, both projects that we currently have. That one has been approved. It's going through construction plans right now. The other one, actually on the south side, next to Living Spaces, this is a project that we're currently going through entitlements. Again, it's a little bit over 100 units as well. There's actually a third one further south off of Scott Road in 215 as well, that also is going through entitlements as well. So we have 1 that's approved, 2 in the entitlement process.
Outstanding, thank you. Thank you yes.
Okay, any other questions? All right, thank you very much for great presentations. And like Randy said, congrats on the awards. We obviously know how hard you guys work, so we appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, moving on to agenda approval. Are there any modifications to tonight's agenda?
No, there are not.
All right. Commissioners, can we get approval for tonight's agenda? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, hearing none. We'll move on to public comments on non-agenda items. Do we have any requests to speak, or anyone in the audience want to speak on items that are not on tonight's agenda?
I do not have any requests.
Okay. All right. Can I ask the Planning Commission for approval of the July 26th, 2023 minutes? All in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Nothing on tonight's consent calendar. We'll move on to public hearing items. This is item number 9.1. Could the Deputy Community Development Director introduce this item, please?
Chair, thank you. The following item will be presented by Associate Planner Fernando Herrera. And if we can have IT assist us with the presentation as well. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the Planning Commission. Thank you, Orlando. The project before us is for LWD DEV 2022-002 for the proposed development of 162 condominium project. The project is located on the northwest corner of Menifee and Rouse Road. The general plan land use and zoning designation for the property is high-density residential, so 20.1 to 24 residential dwelling units per acre. Tentative tract map number 38346 is going to be the condominium map, which we show here. We also did want to note entrances to the project site are going to be along Menifee Road and Rouse Road. The entrance on Rouse Road is going to be right in, right out. And then the entrance on Menifee Road is going to be right in, right out, but also it's going to be left in, just to clarify. Here we have the proposed site plan. So it's going to be 9.5 gross acres, 23.6 dwelling units per acre, as previously mentioned, 162 dwelling units. The project is going to propose several amenities for the residents, which include a recreation center with a gym, a lounge area, and a multi-purpose room, a community pool area, a dog park, which is located on that southwestern corner right there. Paseos, that's going to connect most of the amenities together, and then of course the 2 entry points, as well as several landscaped trees. Approximately 1.52 acres of the project is going to be landscaping, which are going to be consistent with the WELO requirements for the code, and they're going to be drought tolerant and resistant species. Here we have some select elevations of the proposed architecture. So the multifamily units are going to be in different plexes. So there's going to be like a 3-plex, a 4-plex, a 5-plex, and so forth. So we just selected a few of them for you to see here. So this is going to be the Spanish style and Italian style. They're going to be the 2 styles that are getting prevalent in this community. So the applicant did incorporate several of the features of these architectural styles, including tile roofs. We also have the color materials board for your view, if you would like to see that. Here's some more of the Italian style, which includes banding, as well also the shutters, and tiled entries. The proposed recreation center is also going to be consistent with the proposed architecture of the homes. In terms of CEQA, the project is, we did do an ISMND, which was circulated for public review from July 14th to August 2nd. A mitigation monitoring and reporting plan was prepared and identifies all mitigation measures that will be required for the project. Staff's recommendation is to adopt a resolution adopting a mitigated negative declaration based on the findings incorporated in the initial study and conclusion that the project will not have a significant effect on the environment, and direct staff to file a notice of determination and adopt a resolution approving tentative tract map number 38346 and plot plan PLN 22-004, subject to the attached conditions of approval and based upon the findings and conclusions incorporated in the staff report. This concludes staff's presentation. The applicant is available here for questions as well as staff. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Fernando. Good presentation, appreciate it. Do we have any questions for staff? Questions for staff? I do have a question. In terms of ingress and egress, I thought we had talked about a left out onto Rouse, no? I'm concerned about how residents will go north on Menifee Road if they need to go north out of our complex.
Can you please bring up the presentation again? Sorry. Give me 1 second while I bring that up. For some reason, it started at the end. Oop, that's probably the best. So your concern is on Rouse Road, the drive aisle there. It is, because it's so close to an adjacent driveway, to get a left out would be not recommended. So that's why it's restricted. It's very close to the left turn movements that are going on to eastbound to northbound Menifee. So it's too close of a movement, and then there's a conflicting movement just directly across the street from it.
Okay. So are residents, is there a way for residents to go north on Menifee Road or to get north of the project if they?
They can, I believe there's an, I'm not sure, there might be enough room to make a U-turn at that that left turn that's directly in front of it.
Okay.
So would there be an alternative? Because, I mean, you have, how many units are in this? Total units is what?
162.
So,
There's two options. They can either come out of the gate on Menifee Road and then make a U-turn at Rouse, or they can come out at Rouse and make a U-turn that's directly in front of the outlet there. So there's two alternatives for them to go north on Menifee. There's a signal at Menifee and Rouse, which would probably be the preferred alternative because they have a protected U-turn movement there.
but how much is the stacking on the southbound Menifee Road to get into the U-turn, to queue to do a U-turn?
There's not a whole lot. That's only a residential community directly across the street, and it's a smaller entry point.
So they pull out of Menifee Road, they take a right, they come down to the intersection of Rouse and Menifee, and they hang a U.
Correct.
Well, you have, say, a third of these people leave at once?
Well, yeah, no, a third of them aren't going to be going northbound on Menifee. Most of the people are going to be going down to McCall and heading back towards I-215.
Okay.
So your majority of movements are going to be going back towards town, not towards the north.
Commissioner Thomas, if I may add, there's also a third option of residents potentially going west on Rouse and then north on Antelope as well to eventually go up to Ethan X as an alternative as well.
Now that we're talking about it, I remembered that we talked about mostly coming out onto Menifee, down to Rouse and flipping around now that we brought it up. So sorry about the redundant question. Are we okay with that? Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
So tonight it looked like it was clarified that on Rouse there's no left in now, which I thought yesterday in our discussions there was going to be a left in there. So if most people are going to be coming home that way, right? They're going to be heading eastbound on Rouse Road from the 215?
Homeowners will more than likely, once they drive it a few times, they're going to end up coming in off of turning left, depending on where their home is in the complex. They're either going to turn left at Rouse and turn into into the facility, or they'll continue north on Menifee and turn left into the second driveway.
But I thought we just said there was no left turn on Rouse.
No, you're turning left on Menifee onto Rouse and then turning right into there.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Joe?
Can you give a detailed description for lot 20? I think it's an open space, but can you elaborate on it?
Yeah, so lot 20 is going to be the proposed dog park. Underneath lot 20, it's going to be water retention, underground systems. So that's basically going to be an amenity for residents to be able to use.
Thank you.
Okay, we good for now with staff questions? Okay. Okay, so we got a nice big clock up on the wall now we can look at. It's 6:28. We'll open the public hearing. Madam Clerk, was the hearing legally noticed, and have we received any correspondence?
The hearing was legally noticed, and the commission did receive a piece of correspondence in your folders.
All right, great, thank you. You said the applicant is here. Would you like to join us at the podium and introduce yourselves for us, please?
Good evening. My name is Brian Bergeron with Foremost Pacific Group, for those that don't know me. First of all, I want to thank all you guys for the opportunity to speak on behalf of this development. Also want to thank city staff for working with us and making these efforts come into reality. Over the last year, we've been working with staff to ensure that the overall Menifee design visions were implemented for this project, and we have the utmost confidence that this project will be a success for and provide additional workforce housing needs under an undersupplied market. We are very proud to be a part of this project and look forward to the continued relationship with the city of Menifee. If you guys have any specific questions regarding this development, I am available, as well as our engineer, Atkin Engineers.
All right, great, thank you, Brian. One quick question for you, Brian, if you don't mind.
Chair, if I may, I'm sorry to interrupt. Before you ask the applicant the question, there is a memo in your blue folders with a modification to add a condition to ensure that we get the multi-use trail along the project frontage on Menifee Road.
Right, thank you. So the question I'm supposed to ask is, do you agree to all of the conditions of approval?
There is a couple conditions on the engineering side that I'll have my engineer bring up and address with the commission.
Okay. Did the applicant get a copy of this as well? Okay, so go ahead if you wanted to come up and.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Richard Reeves with Atkin Engineers. We're proud to work in the city of Menifee. We have a number of different projects, from hotels to multifamily, including with Foremost Pacific Group. And what he is alluding to is that we met with city staff today to discuss some of our concerns with some ambiguity with some of the conditions of approval, and they reassured us that our great working relationship with Nick and that department will allow us the flexibility to address some of our concerns during plan check. But one thing we wanted to voice before the commission was that there are instances, particularly at the point of concern that you guys had, where the U-turn on going southbound on Menifee Road and making a U-turn at Rouse, is that there's other developments in the area that also need that to be fully improved from curb to curb. We have the room to provide our improvements consistent with the requirements of the adjacent projects and everything else in the area. But we wanted to confirm and at least work through with staff is that there's some things within the standards that won't be able to be accomplished consistently with the traffic study and the conditions of approval and the striping exhibits that we have. And so we wanted to have the flexibility to work with staff to work through those issues in plan check, as long as the commission and staff is aware that not everything will be to city standard, particularly with the geometrics at the intersection. What we had stated with staff was that particularly the standard for a major arterial would need 2 left turn lanes, but because I believe the project to the east, I think it was Turtle was the name of the street, that one doesn't have 2 lanes to receive 2 left turns. And so we would only be providing 1 left turn into that development, and then our development would be building between the existing curb and the existing power structures that are along Menifee Road. And so there are certain things that we've worked with the city for many years trying to work through these issues, but we wanted to make sure we were able to voice that before the commission closed on the issue.
Okay, thanks for bringing that up. Yeah.
When you're done, ask a question.
Yeah, are you guys aware of this, what he's discussing, and are we comfortable with their concern?
There's a couple, yes. The, staff brought it to my attention about 15 minutes ago. I guess you met maybe a half hour ago. So I'm aware of the concerns. There is some issues like Richard has mentioned that we'll have to address through final design. But we do need to make sure that we accommodate what's indicated in the traffic impact analysis. So the lanes will need to be there. Obviously, we're not going to build a southbound to eastbound left turn if there's no receiving lanes, which, and it's a small community, as Richard has indicated. So We'll make accommodations to the standards to fix that, but there are some other elements that we'll have to work through for the southbound elements. We'll have to adjust some of the lane configurations to make sure that they match up, but it's going to take some work to work through.
Okay, thank you. Does this affect their agreement to adhere to all of the COAs?
No.
No? So we're okay to move forward then?
Yeah, I mean, I know you mentioned some power poles. There might be some power poles that might need to be relocated because to develop a right turn lane, that is a condition of the TIA. But we'll work towards some widths, and then this new condition that was brought up, we'll have to look at some of the conditions and some of the road width, lane widths to make it accommodate.
Okay. Ty, this isn't something that needs to come back to us? No, okay. All right, so we're all on the same page and we're all comfortable with this? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you for bringing that up.
I had a quick question.
Sorry, yes, Chris.
So since we're not putting 2 left turn lanes in because you can't receive going east, and I did have a concern that seems like a small stacking for the left turn. Is there a possibility of increasing the length of that left turn lane to allow greater stacking?
We'll definitely look at it in final engineering. We'll look at queuing analysis and things to see what the distance is required for. You're talking about the southbound to eastbound?
To eastbound routes,
yeah. Yeah, we can look at the queuing analysis to see what the appropriate left turn length would be. Yeah, because when we start, the part of their project requires them to build a raised median. So we want to make sure that the raised median is put at its ultimate location and that it accommodates the traffic needs. So when we sit down and go through the final engineering, we'll look at some of the traffic impact analysis and queuing requirements analysis for that left turn.
Thanks, Nick. Any other questions for the applicant?
Yeah, I need a clarification. So city's not going to change the conditions, but you're going to be required to go by condition that you say you cannot design.
I want to clarify. We will adhere to the conditions. There's flexibility in the conditions that allow us to work through to the satisfaction of the Public Works Director or City Engineer. And so what we were trying to state was that there are certain things within the city standards that might need to be modified, which is common practice, but we want to make sure that we at least expressed it. I'm still new to this project, so I'm trying to catch up to it, and I want to make sure we're communicating clearly, and staff was very helpful in helping us to that end. As Nick said, we'll work with the queuing of what's necessary for the left in. You can see the 2 left turns are back to back, and so the traffic impact analysis will actually identify the trip generation of what is going to be going north, which we agree with city staff that's going to be minimal. But ensure that we have enough stacking there to where it's not going to back up and block any southbound traffic.
Thanks for that clarification.
Of course.
Any other questions for the applicant? No. Joe?
Yes. Yeah. I would like to direct your attention to the existing traffic signal at the corner of Menifee Road and Rouse Road. Mm-hmm. Is it fully functional, or will you improve that particular traffic signal station?
The traffic impact analysis stated that there were no additional changes that needed to happen to that intersection, but with the restriping, we will likely have to relocate some loop detection, some minor clarification of those items. But as far as the turning movements, the signal as proposed for our development already has a dedicated left turn and U-turn as it's currently signed. And so we don't anticipate any changes. It's built in its ultimate condition.
Thank you.
Just for clarity, they do have to develop a right turn lane southbound, so which could require some modifications to that corner.
Right turn onto Rouse.
Yeah, so the traffic impact analysis indicates that they have to have a right turn lane developed in its ultimate condition to go southbound to westbound. So that might require, once we get into final engineering, some modifications to that curb return on the northwest corner.
You good with that?
We're aware, but that's what we're working through in final engineering. We feel
Okay.
like there might be some wiggle room between the existing curbs that can accommodate what the city's asking for.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay. So public comment section, do we have any requests to speak?
I do not have any requests.
Okay, anybody in the audience want to speak on this agenda item? Okay,
Chair,
yes, ma'am.
before you close the public hearing, will you please ask the applicant whether they agreed to the conditions of approval?
Again?
Yeah. Because there is some changes.
Okay. Do you, you have to speak into the mic, sorry. Do you agree to all of the conditions of approval?
We agree.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right, it is 6:39. We'll close the public hearing. Do we have any discussion amongst ourselves about this? Okay. Moving right along. So there are 2 resolutions for adoption. We'll need a motion and a second to approve staff recommendations. Do I have a motion? Oh, very good. Okay, and that passes 5-0. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Okay, moving on. No discussion items tonight. Moving on to our favorite section, our Community Development Director comments. Do you have anything for us tonight?
Thanks, Chair. I just want to take the opportunity to recognize the hard work and commitment of the staff in the Community Development Department. I think the presentation you heard tonight gives you some highlights, but it's a very high-level opportunity for us to showcase what we're doing. But I just want to publicly acknowledge their hard work and commitment to the city and doing what they can every day to make Menifee a better place.
Absolutely. We appreciate it. Thank you.
I do have a question.
Go ahead.
With the building of Chick-fil-A, what, can you hear? Okay. So when I go to my planning commission meetings, many times, I will stop, I will come Newport this way, and I'll go into the gas station on the corner here. Get a soda, Nutter Butter cookies, whatever I need. And a what?
And a big route to get back.
Exactly. There is no, I have made the mistake of turning right onto Newport. I'll take, no, you can't take you, till you get clear over the other side of the freeway, come back, and that time I'm saying very unkind words. So, my question is, and I'm on the planning commission, when Chick-fil-A goes in, will it have a reciprocal drive-through so that I can go through there and come out on the Hahn Road?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, much happier planning commissioner when that happens.
So you'll be able to come out on Hahn Road at the signal, or you will
Yes.
be able to come
Newport.
out at New Hub
Yes.
and cross
Yes.
Hahn Road, yes.
That is very important. Okay, thank you.
We can't have Chris using unkind words, so that's
No,
important.
3 minutes to 6, and I'm just getting on Not
Any information, or new information or updates on the retail property in front of the theater building?
No new updates.
Permits?
Oh.
Yes, Chris, please.
Oh. So I read somewhere, somebody was recommending tearing down stuff because it's rotting and it's falling apart. Do you hear something about that? Maybe it was on Facebook? No?
I think there was an email sent.
Is that an
about
email?
it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that was the email. Is there any truth to
But-
that?
Before any construction commences, we would require an engineer's report. If there are any components of those existing buildings that are unsafe, they would need to be rebuilt. Short of that, that's where we're at right now.
Are the permits current?
The permit's expired. New plans are required to be submitted by September 1st.
Oh, thank you.
Well, that's good. That's information. Thank you. That's coming up. Okay. Item number 12, Commissioner reports on committee activities. MCAC yet?
Next week.
All right,
Next week.
exciting. Anything else? The city council spends a lot of time on this part of their agenda, so we don't have anything to compete with them about what we've been doing? No. Okay.
Good.
Any future agenda items? You sure, Randy?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, no, not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. Almost.
It is 6:43. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.